Chambers of the Occult may contain content that might not be suitable for all listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
That's yeah.
What?
Hello.
I'm
Hi,
Jay.
welcome back to Chambers of the Occult. Jay, I'm Kai. Alexis, this is where you say your name.
I literally said it.
My
No,
I
God.
literally said it. My name's Alexis.
There
Thank
we
you.
go. Let's go. You
We
finally
were both
said
just
it.
waiting on you.
Every
I literally
time.
said it.
Every time.
I literally said it.
Anyway, welcome back. Thanks for joining us once again.
We hope you enjoyed the last episode.
Yeah, let us know what you guys thought of old news nonsense. We have a lot of fun recording that, so we want to do more if you guys are interested.
Yeah, we do have more for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, right before we started recording, I was talking about becoming a fencer, like learning how to fence, like the sport. I think that would
And
be
I
sick.
say you 100% should do it. I will join you in that journey.
Gracious.
Sick. No, it's because lately I've been doing research into like old timey like martial techniques with like sword fighting and stuff for D&D, like for my character, to like get an idea of like how he fights and stuff like that. And it's just got me really interested in sword fighting, and I'm like, I should do that because it's cool.
I don't know if I wanted to do fencing when I first saw it, like in The Parent Trap or like in some anime or cartoon, but I really wanted to do it. And when I got to community college, the catalog had fencing in it, and I couldn't find it when I had to register for classes, so I was really upset. And I ended up going to like talk to the people in charge of like the department, you know, like of all like sports and things like that. And I talked to them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we haven't updated the catalog. The guy that teaches it passed away last year."
Oh my gosh.
So I never got the chance to
goodness.
do it.
That's so tragic.
Oh.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah. But if you want to go on that journey, I'm definitely down to do that.
We should all do it.
Yeah.
Like we should.
Okay.
Is a fencing class a thing? I'm looking that up right now.
I mean, most likely.
There's fencing classes by me on Center Road.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Guys,
Yes.
let's do it.
Triangulate your location, Alexis.
Did you guys know that there are 3 different types of fencing?
No.
There is foil, there's eepee, and there's saber. Oh my god.
Ooh.
That's so cool.
You
Eepee,
learn
epi,
something new
like
every day.
Yeah. I don't know. Sword fighting is cool.
I think it's
anyway, sleepy. Anyway.
Sleepy.
Alexis, do you think that you could be a fencer?
But I don't think. I know.
Like Olympic level?
No, definitely not. No.
Wow. Not with that attitude.
Yeah, come on. Come on.
I think
Have some faith in yourself.
I think I would do better at like boxing or like kickboxing.
But not fencing?
Fencing, it's just too easy, you know what I'm saying?
Even though you just said you
Oh
couldn't
my god.
I'm kidding.
Oh
No.
my god.
I'm so down to do fencing. I just don't think I would do it for like competition, I guess.
Okay.
Like competitively, yeah.
You would do it
Like,
to
I think I would
learn
just do
and
it.
to like tell people that you know how to fence.
Yes, chicks dig that.
Yeah, guys,
Do
I
you
love
dig
swinging
that?
my sword around.
Oh, okay. All right. We're. I was
All right,
saying
let's get
that.
started.
Oh, okay.
No,
I was
kidding.
going to mention the iCarly thing.
Oh yeah. That one episode.
Yeah, because I was.
Who
It reminded
actually
me
thinks
of that. It's Spencer, it's Freddie, and it's Freddie's mom because they're the Fenson
Okay.
Bensons.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That should be our team name
Fence.
for when we
Yeah, I'm so down. Fenson Bensons, bro.
What if it's already taken?
No, it's not.
Definitely not.
I'll kill whoever has it.
We'll duel for it. We'll duel them.
Yeah, we'll do
there
it
you
for
go.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
so smart. Do it legally.
I hope it would be legally.
No, I said I was gonna kill whoever had that name.
Yeah, I did hear that.
And then he said duel.
Okay, sister.
So you just for real.
Cool. We ready?
I love sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we bring you folks, like always, 3 stories.
Yes, sir.
No way.
Yes, sir. Actually, not like always, because we did have a 4th story one time.
Yeah, when we had Milo over.
We did.
Oh,
If
you
you
just
haven't heard
lied
that
to them.
episode, feel free to check it
We
out.
just lied to them. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Okay.
Maximum Fencing Club. We offer group classes. Whoa.
Are you looking at the one I sent you?
Oh, wait, you sent one? Oh, wait.
I sent one in the group chat.
Oh, yeah, the fencing thing.
Yeah. They're
I'm
open
actually so down.
They're open from 4
fencing
p.m.
with
to
you guys.
10:30 p.m. on weekdays.
That's actually kind of good hours.
It's
That would
really
be
good hours, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
cool. All right, we can talk about this after.
Yeah, you know, that's totally
Yeah.
fine. We'll give you folks an update if we sign up for fencing.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, we have some stories, and I will start us off this week.
All righty.
Woo!
Yeah, so for
Yippee.
this story, let me get this ready. I don't know why I closed it by accident. Not important.
We're all closing our tabs today.
Honestly.
Not for real.
Okay, so for this story, once again, we start off with true crime. We are heading to the year 1971.
Okay.
This is Thanksgiving Eve, November 24, 1971. And we're going to go to Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
We're going to an airport.
Oh, not where I thought we would be going, but
Airport
okay.
in Oregon.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to go to Northwest Orient Airlines, and we're going to be talking about Flight 303. So this was a flight at the time from Portland, Oregon to Seattle, Washington. It was about a 30-minute flight, and we're going to be talking about a plane hijacking.
Oh shit.
Oh, wait.
Okay. That's it.
What?
Continue. I think
Do you
I've
know
heard.
what this is?
Yes, I think so, but I don't know anything about it really. I just
Okay.
know.
Like the name?
Yeah.
Okay, so this man shows up, and it's 1971. He buys a $20 ticket with cash under the name of Dan Cooper.
Dan Cooper.
Dan Cooper.
And he boards the plane, and people said that he was wearing a very business-like attire. And it was documented by passengers and the crew as well. So his description was that he was wearing a suit and a tie, a dress shirt, black dress shoes, and then, a tie with a pearl tie clip. And then he also had a suitcase with him. He had sunglasses. They were like the aviator style sunglasses, Ray-Ban ones.
Hey, Milo.
Basically. And he was also wearing an overcoat.
Okay.
So his hair he had dark hair and it was neatly combed. He gets in the plane and the people on the plane describe him that he was well built, average built, around 5 feet 10 inches, between 5 feet and 10 inches to 6 feet tall. And
man.
Visibly, he weighed about,
pretty average.
170, 180, 170 pounds, 180 pounds. He appeared to be in his mid-40s.
So pretty normal dude so far.
Yeah. He just looks like a business
pretty average
travel man. Dan Cooper just bought his $20 ticket with cash. And that's what made it interesting. It wasn't unusual for people to buy plane tickets with cash at the time.
Yeah.
But like always, when you have a cash transaction, it's a lot harder to track back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things regarding this case, and I have a lot of information. I try to condense it into as little as I could without going overboard. But while they were in the air, Cooper, he had a seat towards the back of the plane.
Okay.
And he sat down, and he asked for a regular drink, like an alcoholic beverage, from the stewardess. She brought him his drink, and then he handed her a note. And at first, the stewardess, she thought that he was trying to flirt with her because it wasn't unusual for men to flirt with them. Yeah.
Yeah. Valid.
So she kind of disregarded the note. And then that's when so there's two different things. So one of the things is that he leaned towards her and he told her something. Another thing says that she read the letter. And if he leaned towards her, he told her, "Miss, you better take a look at that note. I have a bomb."
Okay. He went right to it.
Yeah. Because she kind of dismissed it. She was like, not going to take it. And that's when he's like, "You want to take a look at that? I have a bomb." The other side of the story says that she took the letter, the paper, she read it. It said, "I have a bomb. I need you to sit next to me." So she sat down next to him. But there's no exact wording of what was in the letter because after she read it, he took it back from her.
Got it.
And her name, the stewardess, was her last name is Schaffner. And she alerted the cockpit crew.
Mm-hmm.
And he made a demand, like always, like people that
Yeah.
He demanded 4 parachutes and $200,000 in ransom money.
What the fuck? From the flight attendant from Schaffner?
Yeah, he's like, "These are my demands."
Okay.
Now, the $200,000 in 1971, with inflation and all that stuff, nowadays it would be equivalent to about $1 million.
Damn! Oh my goodness gracious!
That was a lot of money. Okay.
Yeah, so he was gonna go big or go home.
Yeah. I feel you, brother.
Yeah. So after she told the people in the the pilot in the cockpit, they immediately called. They did the call in through the radio, and then the airport in Seattle contacted the FBI because it was an airplane hijacking.
Yeah.
And the FBI got involved right off the bat. They were able to get the money, and they got 10,000 bills, 10,000 $20 bills. Yeah, so they were unmarked $20 bills, but they had recorded all the serial numbers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I forgot the name of the machine, but they put it through a machine that recorded all the serial numbers, but the bills were still unmarked.
Okay.
So they arrive at Seattle, and they're refueling the aircraft. And that's when the airline president authorized the payment for the ransom. And of course, he instructed all the employees to cooperate. Also, very interestingly, during this whole time, none of the passengers knew what was going on.
Damn.
Yeah, of course. They would want to keep it secret, not to raise alarm. Like, for the passengers.
So the passengers were not aware of that. They got to Seattle, and the passengers disembarked, all 36 of them. And he also let 2 flight attendants leave the plane. And that also included Schaffner.
How generous of him.
Yeah. He did retain the pilot, the co-pilot, and a flight attendant as well.
Okay.
And the authorities secured the perimeter of the airport. They ensured the safety of the passengers. And Cooper ordered them to take the plane to fly it to New Mexico.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. So from Seattle to New Mexico, it's quite a bit of distance.
Do you know what city, what airport it was, I guess, in New Mexico?
I will get into that because they didn't actually make it to New Mexico.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, because they actually told Cooper that due to fuel limitations, they would have to stop somewhere else to refuel. Because the plane wasn't designed to fly that long distance.
So they would have to get more fuel to get there.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So the crew and Cooper discussed the options, and they settled on Reno, Nevada as the refueling stop.
Got it.
Yeah. Now, what's very interesting is that this was a very well thought out plan. This was not like a casual hijacking, like you wake up one morning and you're like, I want $1 million. Let me kidnap a plane.
Yeah.
No, like everything he did was like with purpose, which is very interesting because all the letters that he wrote, he took back. So like there was no handwriting left behind for anyone to compare to anything else.
Nothing to trace and stuff.
Yeah. So the plane starts going south, starts flying to Reno, Nevada, which is where they're going to refuel the plane. And then from there, they would fly to New Mexico. But he made a few demands while they were flying to Nevada. Cooper instructed the crew to maintain an altitude of 10,000 feet.
Okay, very specific.
And that's not where it stops. He also told them that they had to maintain an airspeed, a minimum airspeed of 200 knots, which is approximately 230 miles per hour. So this was likely to ensure the plane's stability at a low altitude where it could fly slowly and steadily.
Yeah. I was going to say, that's very low and not nearly as fast as it could go. So
and then he also instructed a few more things. He said he talked about the landing gear and the flaps. He specified that the landing gear should be kept down, and the wing flaps they needed to be set to a 15 degrees.
Okay, I assume you'll get into it, but it's just,
So the reason that
specific.
It's what kind of like drove me crazy. I was like this man knew what he was doing. So the reason for those two requests was because the configuration of the gears and the flaps, they would further slow the plane and make it easier for him. To exit with those parachutes.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Now, he also demanded that the cabin remain unpressurized. And this was crucial for his plan to jump. That way, because he was going to jump from the rear air stair without facing the hazards of rapid decompression or the high altitude.
Yeah.
So the whole, you got to fly at this altitude.
So he could easily just jump out when he needed to.
Without having to adjust so rapidly. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So like I said, initially he wanted them to fly to New Mexico, but after discussion, they agreed that they were going to stop in Reno, Nevada. And like I said, Cooper demanded for 4 parachutes, 2 primary and 2 reserved.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he got all the money in like one of those big sacks. And investigators had theories of why he wanted 4 parachutes. And one of the theories was that he might have wanted to make it look like he was going to have hostages jump off the plane with him.
That was my thought. Like, is he going to with him?
Yeah. So we'll get more into some of the parachutes because it's actually quite interesting that something happened with them. But the stewardess that was still left in there, she helped Cooper with whatever he asked, and then he sent her back to the cockpit. And then around 8 p.m., the cockpit, a warning light indicated that the rear air stair had been lowered. So this alerted the pilots that Cooper was in the process of opening the rear exit. And go ahead.
No, just say that again.
No, that's fine. So it was around 8 p.m. In the cockpit, they got a warning light that indicated that the rear air stair had been lowered. And this alert, this just kind of told the pilot that Cooper was like in the process of opening the rear exit. Yeah. It gave them the idea of like, okay, it's happening. He's jumping.
Yeah.
And it was around 8:13 that the aircraft experienced a sudden upward movement, which required the pilots to like retrim the plane. And this sudden change in the aircraft's behavior kind of suggested that like Cooper had jumped, as the change in the weight would have affected the plane's flight dynamic.
Well, sorry to cut you off. Like that's what I was thinking, but also like, would just the weight of himself alone be enough to manipulate the plane that much?
Well, it's not just the weight of him; it's also the weight of him with the money.
With the money and then with the parachute. It was a lot of money. So
and also he's technically at the very edge, so I think it would be a lot more noticeable when like something happened.
Okay, fair.
During this whole time, there was 2 other planes following this plane. Like FBI got involved. They called like the Air Force or someone. There were 2 planes that were following this aircraft, but because Cooper had told them to go at like 230 miles per hour at like 200 knots. Is that what it was? Yeah.
They're going too slow.
Other planes, because they're designed to go fast, they couldn't keep up. They couldn't slow down enough. So they had to go around. And theories are that when they went around, that's when Cooper jumped.
That would make sense.
So that's why I'm saying like this man planned it all out.
Yeah, like it also makes sense also now that he's going slow, because it's like, the fighter jets, they can't go that slow.
Exactly.
So, okay.
Yeah, so
what were you about to say, Alexis?
Yeah, Alexis?
No, I wasn't going to say anything. I was just agreeing with you guys.
Okay, is this a story you thought I was going to be sharing?
Yes. I don't know anything about it though. I'm learning so much right now.
There's so many like details that I started like looking through and finding, and like there's so much different resources out there.
Yeah, this is crazy.
So the crew remained in the cockpit, and they were as they were instructed by Cooper. They never stepped out to check if he had jumped or not. They remained there because like he had a bomb.
Uh-huh.
Gonna go back to that part. There was people that said, not people, the stewardess, Schaffner, that said that like he opened the suitcase and that like you could see that there was bomb things in there, or what would look like a bomb. There was never confirmation if he actually had a bomb, or if it was just like a decoy.
Okay. So they just took the threat seriously, but they didn't like actually check.
Yeah. So during this flight to Reno, the back exit door that Cooper jumped from remained open, because once again they didn't know if he had jumped, if he was waiting for another time to jump, or they were not going to risk it. They were just following instructions. So they landed in Reno. The plane landed safely in Reno approximately at 10:15 p.m. This was 2 hours after they suspect that he jumped.
Oh shit! Okay.
Damn.
So like they really just did not check. They just
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were just following his instructions. They were like, if this man has a bomb, we gotta stay in the cockpit unless he tells us to like step out.
Yeah.
So if he jumped at 8:13, 8:15, 8:13, by 10:15, that's 2 hours of like Cooper on the ground, just disappearing.
Yeah.
Once they were on the ground, the crew confirmed that Cooper was no longer in the aircraft, and they found their rear air stair deployed. What was very interesting is that this was one of the few planes. I think I have, the Boeing 727, that was able to continue flying with the exit down.
Oh.
So once again, we don't know if like Cooper knew that in advance when he booked this plane or not. But it just worked interestingly that this plane was able to deploy that exit as the plane was flying.
He probably planned it. I don't know.
No, like
he 100% had to.
There's a lot here that is definitely planned. Of course, Cooper was not longer in the aircraft. The ransom money was gone, and the parachutes were gone. Well, 2 parachutes were gone. Now, out of the 4 parachutes, this is where I say it gets interesting. He only took 2. 1 primary parachute and 1 reserve.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, one of the parachutes that was left behind was a non-functional dummy.
Oh.
So it was accidentally mistaken as an active parachute, and it was given to Cooper.
Was it accidentally, or was it?
No, given from what I was able to find, it was accidentally because they didn't realize that it was a dummy parachute until they looked at the 2 that he left behind. So there were only a few things that he left behind, but nothing that could really help authorities out. He left his tie and the tie clip. That's it.
And a tie clip?
Yeah. The mother of pearl tie clip that he was wearing so that's the tie clip that he left behind. Now,
mother of pearl.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I want to make it very clear that when he booked this flight, the name that he used was Dan Cooper. But when news outlets and medias and like everyone started to hear about it and they started reporting it, there was one, I think it was a newspaper that got his name wrong, and that rather than calling him Dan Cooper, they called him DB Cooper.
What?
And
what?
And after that one like source, like newspaper, called them DB Cooper, everyone else started to call him DB Cooper.
Okay.
So, yeah. Anyway, there's a manhunt for this man. He jumped out of the plane with basically $1 million. They're trying to search this man. People volunteer. And then the government, the FBI says like, hey, just FYI, if you find the money, there's no reward if you find this man or if you find this money. People kept searching. No one was able to find him. There was no idea where he had jumped. Nothing was found out. He kind of just disappeared into the darkness, basically.
Yeah.
Into the abyss.
Something very, I was going to bring that up as well. Not the abyss, but it was a stormy night when he jumped out. It wasn't ideal weather for someone to like jump off a plane.
Oh, damn.
What do you mean?
So ideally, if you're going to jump off a plane, you want clear skies. You don't want the winds to be too crazy. But he jumped out. That day, it wasn't ideal weather because there was a storm. So he ended up jumping.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, and you're also jumping during a storm from high altitude. It's going to be freezing cold.
Yeah.
So it was a combination of things that he had a lot of things planned out, but the weather did not help him out with that one aspect. Also, there's I think there's a new Netflix series or show about D.B. Cooper. I did not watch it just because it's an actual series rather than a documentary. I did watch a few things on YouTube, like History Channel or like, what was it? National Geographic's, that's what it was. And they ended up saying that out of the parachute. Let me restart. The parachute that he took, there was 2 different types of parachutes. One was more for beginners, and one was easier to open than the other one. And he took the parachute that was more for beginners.
Okay.
That was a little harder to tug on the release. And they think that kind of like led them to show that like he didn't know the difference between the parachutes. Because there was a theory for a long time that maybe he was like a professional like skydiver, and that's why he was ready to do this. But because he took the parachute that a professional skydiver would know not to take if given the chance to not take it, that's kind of what like debunks that theory that he was like a professional like skydiver. The FBI, of course, is already involved, and they're asking the stewardess that worked with, that talked to D.B. Cooper, to write it, like to give them a sketch, like describe him.
Yeah.
And I just sent the group chat a picture of what his sketch looks like.
Okay.
It's just a generic guy. They have him with the sunglasses and without the sunglasses.
A literal just average guy. Like, oh my, like, okay.
Yeah.
So this picture ends up in the newspapers. People are looking for him. People are accusing their neighbors, their spouses, of being D.B. Cooper, which is wild. There's like death confessions of like, I am D.B. Cooper type of thing. But nothing concrete. Until 1980.
Oh.
So 9 years after his disappearance, it would be in February of that year that an 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram, he discovered several deteriorating $20 bills.
Ooh.
And it was just along the banks of the Columbia River in Washington State. He kind of was just doing what kids do, and he kind of found like a wad of $20 bills that were like deteriorating. And the serial numbers in those 20 bills matched the serial numbers of the ransom money that was given to D.B. Cooper.
Oh shit.
Now, this was go ahead.
So like the kid found the bills and then like they got turned in to like the police or something?
Yeah, because they were not like, he couldn't go use them even if he wanted to because they were just in such bad condition. But it's more like he told his dad and then word got out to the police, or they gave them to the police. And they were able to match the serial numbers. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll actually send you a picture of what they look like because I think it's just kind of cool to see what they look like after 9 years in the wilderness.
I mean, I'm kind of imagining, because like I don't think a kid would just leave money behind.
Oh,
he probably was like, "Oh, these are cool," and he like grabbed the money.
He definitely took them.
Showed it to his dad, and then he was like, "Oh, wait, these could be like part of something." Blah blah. And then I don't know.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. Take a look at that picture, and you're gonna see just the horrible condition that they're in.
Okay.
Which also, as a kid, I would be like, "Oh wow, like this is kind of cool. Look at how badly that like damaged they are."
Yeah, like I just picked them up just because.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
So they find this money, and it's not the whole $200,000. It's only a small portion of it. It's about $5,800. So it's just like if one wad fell out during the jump. But none of the other bills were found by the kid. That was it. Now, during this whole time and the whole investigation, of course, the case grows cold. It's still an open case, last I heard. And it would be in 2001, where DB Cooper kind of makes a name for himself. He does not like reemerge. The money does not appear. But I think just like a fun fact is that there's in Washington, in Camas, Washington, they opened up a bar named DB Cooper Bar and Grill.
We gotta go.
Yo.
Yeah,
in Washington?
Yeah.
That's sick.
So they didn't call him like a hero, but he was like the hijacker that got away. Like the only successful person that has taken like ransom money in like for a plane hijacking and gotten away.
He's a legend.
Yeah, technically. He's infamous. And the bar is known, it's all DB Cooper themed. It was featuring like memorabilia, like newspaper clippings and things like that. And it's just like an atmosphere like surrounding the infamous skyjacker. And I would love to go there as well because they did something that was really fun. So there used to be a DB Cooper lookalike contest.
No way.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it would be on the day of the jacking. I think like November 24. Like they'll all gather there. Like people will gather there for like the lookalike contest of DB Cooper.
That's so dumb. Like why? I don't know.
It's weird. I would love to just go check out the bar, but unfortunately it got rebranded in 2016. So now So now it's just called the Poor House.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's now it's shifting away from DB Cooper, and it's just a regular bar with craft beers and a large menu selection. That's about it.
The hell?
Yeah, other than that, something else did happen in 2008, which is related to the case, but not necessarily about DB Cooper. In 2008, the bills that were recovered were actually auctioned off.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
really?
So the individual bills, like the pictures that I sent you, they were all sold for different varying amounts. Some of them fetched several $1,000s just because of the historical significance and the rarity of them. And the best preserved one, the one that was like decomposed the least, was sold for like, I think $5,000, something like that.
Damn.
And then in total, from all those like $20 bills, like they got about $37,000.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Deteriorating bills.
Yeah. Now, I want to make it clear, this $20 bills, this ransom money is still out there because none of those serial numbers have been found in circulation.
Oh.
Damn.
Yeah. So all those people that say I am DB Cooper, or that like point fingers at their like dead husband, there's really no proof. They're like, yeah, like he bought a house cash, but like nothing adds up.
Dude, what?
DB Cooper,
so he didn't spend any of that money?
No, which is the crazy thing, because theories are that he did not survive, and theories are that he did survive, but he can't spend any of the money.
Yeah.
It's been like 50 plus years since this hijacking took place. And those $20 bills have never been in circulation.
I'm going to find them.
But yeah, so I tried to see if there was any like news about the DB Cooper case. I did see a few articles. One of them said that they found some like pollen on the tie, which kind of like helped them out, because they're like, okay, now we can see what plant this belongs to, and then we can trace it down to like where that's a regional plant type of thing. Nothing really came out of it. It's still, once again, a dead end. This man was very meticulous with his hijacking.
Yeah. That's crazy.
They're
still looking.
Go ahead.
Can you continue? No, continue.
Ask.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say, they're still like actively working on the case like today still. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
the last
crazy.
thing I heard when I was looking at the National Geographic's documentary, they try to talk to the FBI to like get them to give a statement or something, and the FBI just said that because it's an open case, they're not going to give a statement. So at least of the the last couple of years, it was still open. I don't know if today it's still an open case, but yeah, about $1 million out there that have never been in circulation.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard his name before. I definitely have, but like I don't know anything about like even why I know his name or where I've heard it from. So
and like it's unfortunate, but he inspired other people to do the same thing. Because
have there been other hijackings from
there have been other hijackings. This one man, rather than asking for $200,000, asked for $500,000.
God damn.
But he was not as discreet as DB Cooper was, and he got kind of like tackled down by the passengers. So the passengers kind of just stopped him. They're like, "You're not hijacking our plane," type of thing. And there was another case where someone else did the same thing. But because they were a blabbermouth, I think it was like they were in a bar and they told the person, like, if I was DB Cooper, like I would have asked for more, blah, blah, blah. And then they ratted them out. So there have been other attempts to recreate like a DB Cooper type of like plane jacking, but it's not been successful. He is the only man in history that has gotten away.
The one and only.
The one and only.
The man, the myth, the
Cooper.
legend.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. I don't know, like every time I just take a second to think about it, I'm like, what the fuck? Like this dude, his real identity is not known and he has never been discovered ever.
No, so something very cool about Dan Cooper was definitely not his real name.
Yeah.
No.
Of course not.
Just the only reason I'm saying this is because as the FBI kept doing more and more research, they found out that there's actually a Dan Cooper comic book.
What?
So he's a comic book character.
Yeah, so the name Dan Cooper comes straight out of a cartoon, like a comic book.
That's funny as hell. Okay.
And it actually comes from like I'm going to send you the picture right now just because I think it's
I'm looking at it right now. Or I'm looking at the comics.
Yeah, and the thing is, the whole Dan Cooper name, definitely not his real name, especially when you realize that there's a comic with the exact same name, and he's literally skydiving.
Oh my god.
That's so funny, dude.
I actually love that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even be mad at this dude. I'm just, like, full respect. I don't know.
I'm gonna be Dan Cooper for Halloween.
Yeah, but that's the case of Dan Cooper, the mysterious skyjacker that nothing is known about him.
No way. That's so crazy.
Like, can you be mad at the dude? He didn't hurt anyone. And he took money from somebody who was a company that was rich. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that he committed a crime and, like, he could have put people in danger if it was, like, a real bomb, even if it wasn't. But at the same time, I'm like, everything was really well thought out. I can't be mad at this man. And the fact that he chose the name from a cartoon, like a comic book.
The cherry on top.
Yes, exactly.
Frosting on the cake. It's
because the Dan Cooper being. Go ahead.
So, no, I was like, oh, it's the frosting on the cake as like the best part, even though I hate frosting. So
no, but yeah, like the whole me being like named Dan Cooper. I feel like that was like a big middle finger to like the FBI. I was like, try catching me now. Like that's not even my real name.
Good. Like I understand that he committed a crime and he did have a bomb threat, but like I gotta respect this dude. He pulled this thing off. It's crazy.
Yeah.
He did.
Go big or go home.
And he went big. $1 million back in that day.
And he probably went home.
He could have gone home or like destroyed the money or something and like
made a new home.
It's wild. And it was just really easy because it was a domestic flight in 1971. There was no one to check your luggage. You could walk in with a gun, a knife, a bomb. No one would ask to see your luggage.
There was literally zero airport security. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. So, yeah. This is the disappearance of D.B. Cooper. Because he was never seen again.
Okay,
that's crazy.
I've definitely title, like the disappearance of D.B. Cooper. I've definitely heard that as a title before, but I didn't like look into it.
I hope you enjoyed it.
That was fun.
No one got killed this time.
You know, I think I have a feeling today's episode is going to be pretty tame.
I hope so. Oh, we'll find out. Who knows? Who knows what Alexis will hit us up with?
True. I'll do a complete 180.
Yeah, she turns out to have the dark story.
Yeah.
Well, actually. Depends on how you see it. Anyways.
All right, buddy. Okay, buddy. So I'm the paranormal story for today.
Yeah. Spooky.
Do you guys ever I guess I'll start this with a question.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
What is my number one red flag?
Son, I hate you.
I mean, me personally, I think my number one red flag is that you can't hang out with me on a full moon.
Sean, I hate you so. I got two wolves inside of me. Both are gay.
Wait, I love that. Can we get it on a t-shirt?
Yes, I'm doing.
Can we get that on a t-shirt?
My number one red flag is you can't hang out with me on a full moon.
Full moon.
Yeah.
Oh?
It's so good. Anyway, yeah, for those of you who don't know, I'm actually a werewolf.
Oh my god.
It's like my whole brand
yeah,
and everything,
he's really hairy.
I mean, that's not really part of it.
No,
I shave, okay? Leave me alone. But do you guys ever stay awake at night and sort of dream of running wild in the forest and and howling at a full moon and gathering with your pack? Oh.
Whoa, it sounds like Alexis might be the red flag.
Oh.
No. I'm just I'm just a girl.
A girl who's a werewolf? Is that your secret?
No.
That did not sound very convincing.
I guess we'll never know.
Well, I'm a werewolf. Alexis is apparently a werewolf. And you know who else is a werewolf? A man named Bill Ramsey.
Wait.
Is he related to Gordon Ramsay?
I was going to say, we're going back to the Ramseys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny because last case I covered Ramses.
Yeah.
And then this case
so
is
now
also
I'm like, whoa. Is there any relation between them? I'm sure you'll tell us.
I mean, it would be pretty crazy if there was relation, but there definitely isn't. Anyway, we've all heard of werewolves and other creatures, and I've experienced being a werewolf.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
But usually that's just in stories and fairy tales and
fantasy.
Unless you personally know me. But for Bill Ramsey, it was very much a reality. So, there's not really too much about Bill himself. He was born in 1943 in the town of Essex, England. It's sort of a Southend sea town, so it's like a beach town, sort of close to the ocean, not very far away. It's I was gonna say like a breezy kind of tropical town, but it's England, so it's definitely not.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, but it's like a seaport town. I'm sure it has salty air and stuff like that, slight breeze. He grew up with a pretty normal childhood. He had lots of land with his parents, just out sort of in the, that small town, play outside, and he was a pretty normal kid. That was until when he was 9 years old, and his life kind of completely changed from then on.
Oh my goodness.
He was playing outside, and it was usual. It was a nice, warm, sunny day. He was having a good time, but he suddenly felt his body start to change a bit. He felt like an icy wind, a breeze was just kind of sweeping across his body, and he started to feel very cold, cold and sweaty, like a cold sweat. And that was just very out of place because it was just a nice, normal day. What?
Puberty.
Oh.
No, this is second puberty.
Is that what puberty feels like? Alexis, is that how it felt like for you? Did you have a
Did it not feel like that for you? You're a werewolf.
Body? Well, how do you know? I'm asking. We're talking about you right now. But he started to feel very stressed out. He didn't know what was happening with his body, so he broke into a cold sweat, and apparently the chilling coldness froze the sweat that was on his skin.
Froze?
Yeah, something like that. So Bill, in a later account, he stated, quote, "Have you ever walked into a meat locker right after you've been outside on a hot day? That's what this was like," end quote. Because, we've definitely all done that.
Yeah. Is that sarcasm?
Yes. No, I'm sure back then it was pretty common. It was 1950 or late 1940s, but...
Oh, well, I'm comparing it to walking into the cold thing at Costco.
Like a cold...
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah. Or in a big gas station or something, walk into the back room where all the beer is held or whatever.
That cold room area. The freezer.
Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense. So that's how he described this feeling as. He also said that he was that there was a super strong, pungent, overpowering stench, and it was so bad that he became super nauseous, and he was barely able to actually stop himself from throwing up because of how bad that smell was.
Damn.
Yeah. And this all came out of nowhere. And so he was stressed, he was confused, but it wasn't just sort of the physical kind of symptoms that he was experiencing. He also started to sort of think a little bit differently. He was caught in this trance, this stasis of the cold feeling, the nauseous smell, but also his mind was suddenly filled entirely and only with the thoughts of running away towards the ocean on all fours, like an animal. And also,
I was going to say what away,
okay,
but no.
Question.
Yeah.
Did any of you run on all fours as a child?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Maybe a little. I 100% used to go up the but I've never, had the desire to run towards the ocean on all fours.
No.
Have you guys seen those videos on YouTube where like people literally practice running like on all fours? And they like
yes, I have.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. It's so awkward.
They have that urge.
Is.
They do. They literally do.
They're werewolves.
Okay, but do they also have the very vivid, repeated imagery of wolves inside of their head at the same time?
Oh, whoa.
Because that's exactly what Ramsey did. So his desire, his pull to run towards the ocean, as well as just seeing wolves in his head. And that's when he knew, something had changed. He was not himself anymore. And from there, his life was forever changed. So he was outside, of course, and his mom saw him acting super fucking weird outside. So he ran out there, or she ran out there, his mom, and she tried snapping him out of like the trance. What are you laughing at?
Was he an only child?
From everything that I've read, I do believe he is an only child. Yeah.
Okay.
What are you laughing at?
This story. This is just yeah. He's just like me for real.
He's you're a werewolf, so you admit it.
No. I don't admit it.
You heard it here, folks.
No. My loyalty lies with vampires.
Bro. Look at my lawyer, bro. I'm going to jail. So his mom comes running out. She's like, honey, like, what the fuck are you doing? And tries to break him out.
I would actually love if those were her exact words.
Yeah.
She like tries. She calls his name. She shouts to break him out of the trance.
Honey.
Yes, Papa.
No way.
It does break him out of his thoughts for just a minute. The images of the wolves, the urge to run away, all went away, but that was really just for a second, because right after that, he was entirely filled with rage. Violent rage. Yeah, you can't hold back the beast. All right. I'm not continuing on with this story.
Hey, what?
Anyway, violent rage, which is how I'm feeling towards Alexis right now. But
I'm sorry, continue.
That's what he was filled with. The adrenaline, the rage, everything, it basically manifested itself as like a supernatural or superhuman strength inside of Ramsey. And so in his rage, with his strength, he actually started to tear the metal fence posts out of the ground and started to swing them around like a club.
Well, I'm sorry?
Yeah. It's my boy right there.
Shut up.
This is starting to sound like an X-Men.
Wolverine for real.
He basically was. Imagine if Wolverine wasn't a Wolverine and he was actually a werewolf instead.
Yeah.
So this dude, Ramsey, is like violently swinging around the metal fence post like a club. His parents are terrified at that point. They try to go up to him to like take the post away, rip it out of his hands. But of course, with his supernatural strength, he had on it. They can't get it free. But because of how freaking scared they are of this kid, they run inside. Yeah. They're taking shelter. They're letting him do whatever he has to do because they are deathly afraid of him.
That is your child.
But it's not. But he's like very violent.
But that's not my kid in that moment.
Swinging around a club. But really, like, set them off to actually run away is because Ramsey got on all fours.
No,
he began to growl and snarl like a wolf.
Stop.
And then he put the metal wire of the fence in his mouth and just started gnawing on it.
Oh god. Okay, I thought you were going to say he started chasing them.
Well, he probably would have been about to.
That's what I was about. Like, I was like, don't tell me that he like chases them and attacks them.
He's hungry. Like
I mean,
wolf.
he probably would have if his parents didn't run inside. So.
No, because you made it sound like that. Like they started running away, and he got on all fours.
True.
And I was like, wait.
I'm gonna chase you guys.
You guys
on all fours.
Yeah. Don't catch me on a full moon.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were watching him from the safety of inside their home, and eventually Ramsey did calm down. His parents very, very skeptically, very fearfully let him inside the house. And after that, they of course had to, tend all his wounds because his mouth, his lips were like bleeding, almost torn open by the fence that he was literally gnawing on. But
oh my goodness.
But he knew what happened. Ramsey barely even remembered what he did. His parents did not know what the hell just happened, but they all sort of vowed to like never discuss it ever again. And so they didn't. So that was just when he was 9 years old though. But for the rest of his life, I mentioned things would change. For the next about 15 years of his life, nothing would actually happen. It was pretty normal. He lived a normal life. What happened was just like the very faint memory in the back of his mind because he barely remembered it anyway. But he grew up. He, got a wife. He had 3 children. And according to like all of his family, all of his friends, Ramsey was a wonderful father. He did great. Nothing out of the ordinary. He was a carpenter. So pretty just ordinary family man, essentially. So it was about 1965 at this point, when he sort of gets married and he's grown up. 15 years had gone by. And so, but a bit after he got married, he started to become, I guess, plagued by some pretty horrible nightmares.
Ooh.
In these nightmares, he actually would find himself chasing after his wife, like either after running up, like on feet entirely. The nightmares would always be him running, chasing after his wife, and they would always end with her like turning around to look at him, her face filled with terror, of course, and then Ramsey would wake up in a cold sweat. And so that's how his nightmares went for about 2 years or so. He had 2 years of those nightmares that he never really did anything about. But I kind of think that the craziest part of these nightmares is some nights when he would wake up like very quickly from these dreams, he would hear you laughing.
Here to share with class.
No, it's nothing. Everything you guys are saying are making me think of different songs in my head. Because you said Some Nights, and I was thinking of Some Nights by Fun.
Oh my god.
Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
I'm literally about to transform right now, dude. But yeah, I think the craziest thing is that he would sometimes wake up from his dreams to hear like the loud panting of like a wild animal coming from inside of the room. So he was so confused, he didn't know where it was coming from, but eventually he realized that these, panting animal sounds were coming from himself. He was the one who was making those noises.
I feel like that would be concerning though.
100%.
That would be very concerning.
Like, I understand that maybe like a doctor probably couldn't do much about it, but like go to a doctor.
Yeah.
Don't just let
and
it
I would
continue
understand
for
like
2 years.
dismissing the dreams because they're like it's just a dream, but as soon as like you're like, oh, those sounds are coming from me.
Yeah. They're like deep, like animalistic like noises like coming from his own throat. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2 years it happened, those nightmares. 1967 would come around, 2 years after the wedding, 2 years after the dream started. And in 1967, after those 2 years, the dreams just suddenly stopped. And after that, he just went back on to living out his normal life, you know, caring father, caring husband that everyone knew. Another 15 years go by without any incident. Everything's normal. That was, again, until 1983, after those 15 years. So Ramsey, he goes out to a pub for the night with some of his best friends. Of course, you know, he's having a good time. He's tossed back some drinks when all of a sudden a very terrifyingly familiar feeling does creep over him. He's sitting there, you know, on the bar stool, perched over the bar, and he feels the same sort of like icy, chill, like kind of breeze pass over him that did overtake him on that day when he was 9 years old. But this time he was sort of prepared. He recognized it was a familiar feeling, and he recognized that maybe, you know, that rage might be coming over. He ran to the bathroom of the tub, and when he looked in the mirror, the face that stared back at him was a wolf.
No way.
No,
That's
I don't
so
know.
scary.
I don't know if like he transformed or if it was just like in his head, but you know, that's what he says. It was a wolf that he saw in the mirror.
Wolf.
Wolf. Okay. So he saw that. He's like scared. He's anxious. So he runs out of the bathroom, and Ramsey's like, "Hey guys, like we gotta go. We gotta get out of here." And his friends are actually like,
form?
he was like, "We gotta get out of here." And yeah, exactly. His friends surprisingly agree, like really quickly. And they all, you know, cram into the car that they drove there in. During the drive, though, Ramsey, he begins to deeply growl with like a deep growl from his throat. And his friends start to watch in terror as Ramsey twists his hands into the shape of claws. And then he like jumped out to one of his passengers and attempted to like claw and bite him in the leg.
No.
Yeah, and imagine this happening in like a car.
A human bite is dangerous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, any bite, but like
our teeth are strong.
You have so many germs.
Exactly, like the bacteria and the infection and stuff like that. Crazy.
Oh God.
Yeah.
15 years of just knowing your friend and they're normal, and then one day this happens out of nowhere.
You're like, what the fuck, Bill?
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah. I would think that they're on drugs or something.
Yeah, like, what did you put in your drink? Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Apparently the driver, whoever it is, like, remained super calm. And, like, he quickly pulled over. They got out. They tried to pull Bill out from the car, but, you know, his supernatural strength came back, and they were completely unable to, like, restrain him or get him out of the car or anything. But after a few minutes, he calmed down, and then his friends were able to actually get him out of the car. But then after that, he actually said that he didn't remember anything that happened in the car. So no recollection of anything. This 18 more months go by, a year and a half. Ramsey tries to move on and forget about it. But suddenly, after those 18 months, he begins to experience really bad chest pain. He broke out into a cold sweat. And so those are actually, you know, some pretty common symptoms of a heart attack. So he immediately went to the hospital, went to the local emergency room, checked himself in. He said he was having a heart attack. So he got moved to a bed on a gurney. He was being examined, and while he was being examined, though, he felt that same icy chill wash over him once again. The nurse that was taking care of him was about like halfway through, examining his blood pressure and things like that, when suddenly he just turned to her and bit right into her arm.
No.
Yeah.
So this is like two people that have gotten bitten by this man.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, he didn't bite his friend in the car, but like he came very close to it. So this is the first person he actually bit. But Oof. Still crazy. So the nurse, she is freaked the fuck out. She yells, she screams bloody murder. She runs through the hospital to get as far away as he can. But Ramsey essentially chased her. He begins running through the hospital, his back hunched, his hands curled in the claws once again, and his teeth bared as he growled and snarled at all the people while he was running through the hospital. So many people tried to restrain him. Nobody could, of course, because of his strength. A police officer managed to actually very temporarily subdue him, put handcuffs on Ramsey, but it did not stop him. He just continued on with the rampage. Eventually, a bunch of them were able to like essentially tackle him, control him. He was sedated. So he was given a sedative. He was essentially put to sleep. Not like dead, put to sleep, but like sleep.
Yeah.
Sleep.
He was my Mimi.
But then when he woke up from his little nap, he was back to normal. He was back to normal. He didn't remember anything about the incident. Yeah. He was like, yo, that was a crazy dream I just had, bro.
Hate to tell you.
I was gonna be like, that wasn't a dream.
He didn't remember anything. But honestly, what like surprised me the most about all of this, the like craziest part of this encounter, was since he was a voluntary patient and he voluntarily checked himself into the hospital, he had every right to voluntarily check himself out.
No, I know where you were going
exactly
with this.
What he did. That's exactly what he did. Of course, the doctor tried to like stop him, but he was like, "No, I'm fine. You guys treated me," and he left.
Damn.
Luckily, nothing else really happened for another 2 months. But after those 2 months went by, Ramsey again went back to that same hospital because he was like once again experiencing, the icy chill that he sort of attributed to the heart attack from earlier. So he shows up to the emergency room of the hospital. And nobody really wants to treat him because they know what happened last time.
Yeah.
It's also interesting how this is becoming a more common thing for him. Like 15 years and now 2 months.
15 years, like, 15 years, 18 months.
At it again.
Yeah. It's like, oh, shucks, man. Too many full moons. Anyway, he goes to the hospital. They begrudgingly check him in. The nurse that's treating him is completely terrified, but of course she has to go through with checking him out anyway. But very soon after, her greatest fears came true.
No.
Ramsey leapt at her and another orderly in the hospital, once again being violent in his little rage. Thankfully, like by sheer luck, there was actually a group of police officers that made their way into the hospital basically at that time. And they were able to restrain him. One of those officers, though, was actually like so badly injured in the encounter that he had to spend 4 days in the hospital to like mend from his wounds, essentially.
I also feel Ramsey, because he got to injure a police officer that he should technically be under custody or something.
Yeah. So he was, but surprisingly not for long. He was restrained, he was detained, and he was locked up in a jail cell. But it doesn't say exactly for how long, but it was not long at all, I believe. He was very quickly released from jail when he returned to normal. So I imagine probably the next day. And once again, he did not have a single memory about any of the details that happened.
Yeah.
And that was another thing that kind of perplexed me. It was like, why do they keep releasing him? Like,
yeah, no, seriously.
Like, even if it's like, oh, he's like, use like a clinically like insane like argument. So it's like he's not responsible for it. It's like you still keep custody of him because he's a danger to the public. So
he is.
Yeah.
He's a danger to the hospital staff.
Yeah. So at this point, what year is it again? It's like 1984, like late 1984, maybe early 1985 when all this happened. And he's like, once again, he's just let free for a bit more time, for another 2 years, actually. For another 2 years, nothing happened. But it was now 1987. And this time, Ramsey, he actually returns back to that police station where he had spent that night in jail before. He found a young prostitute on the street, and of course, prostitutes were treated as like some of the worst criminals out there. So he made like a citizen's arrest on her, and he brought her down to the police station. But which is crazy to me, by the way. Like how are you just gonna grab someone and be like, you're committing a crime, and it's like a young girl, and then you take her to go to jail? I don't know. That's kind of crazy to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were driving to the police station, and unfortunately for her, going to jail was not going to be the worst thing that could have happened that night. Once again, Ramsey, he begins to, snarl, growl, his hands turn into claws. He sort of goes back into his wolf rage. Thankfully, even though she is terrified, she actually manages to get out of the car. She gets out, and she herself runs to the police station because they were pretty close to it. Of course, Ramsey, follows her to the police station in his rage. He's almost calmed down just a tiny bit, but he's still in his werewolf rage. They get to that police station. Of course, there's like a large, like buff, like jacked officer who shows up, and he's like, hey man, you gotta take a chill pill.
Yeah.
So he goes up to him, and he actually like attempts to calm him down. He
gives him a chill pill.
He does like a little pat, like a little touch onto Ramsey's arm to get close enough to try to calm him down. But that was a big mistake.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Yeah. Ramsey snaps. He goes off in his rage, even worse. He tackles the officer, nearly chokes him to death.
Oh my god.
Damn.
And while this is happening, Ramsey yells, "The devil is in me. I am going to kill you." Yeah, so a normal Tuesday afternoon.
For real.
Ramsey yells that while he is on top of this officer trying to choke him. 6 more officers rush out. They restrain him. They sedate him once again. But now this time, Ramsey wakes up in the hospital. He actually stays in the hospital for 10 days of testing, essentially. But nobody was able to figure out what caused, his condition, his rages, his lycanthropy, if you will. Nobody could figure it out. But where this turns into sort of a paranormal story is the fact that Ed and Lorraine Warren, noted demonologists, they actually get involved in the case as well. So I'm also taking an Ed and Lorraine Warren case, guys.
That's
Thank
right.
you very much. My time to shine. Anyway, Ed and Lorraine, they become very interested. So, of course, Lorraine is fascinated by werewolves just in general. And so, Ed and Lorraine, they're in their normal travels, doing their work. But sort of where they first heard of Ramsey was just in their hometown of Monroe, Connecticut. So they were at home. They were watching a show on TV called Sightings. And in this episode, they actually see that there was a bunch of police officers and locals from the city of Essex, London, or Essex, England. And they were interviewing people about encounters with the local werewolf, a man named Bill Ramsey. And at this point, on the news and the TV, Bill was known as the Southend Werewolf. And so... Yeah, the Southend Werewolf. And that's how Ed and Lorraine first learn about him. In the show, they're interviewing police officers, locals. They actually even talk to Bill himself about, about his condition. Lorraine being the, I guess, what would you call her? The sensitive or the...
the
clairvoyant. I guess the clairvoyant that she is, she feels a very unexplainable kind of strange connection to Bill Ramsey. And so at this point, she decides that she is going to find him and help him. At first, it's really just Lorraine that's invested because Ed is very skeptical of it. I mean, he's usually the skeptical one out of the two of them. And for some reason, it seems like he's always proved wrong by Lorraine, which is kind of...
Technically, we only hear of the cases that are kind of paranormal.
That's true. And none of the smaller ones that turn out to be nothing.
Yeah, so I guess at some point he has been right.
Yeah. So Ed and Lorraine, they travel a bit. They try to get in contact with anyone who might be involved as they can. They uncover more information. They eventually make their way over to London, to Southend, eventually making their way to contacting the Essex police or the Southend-on-Sea police department, something like that, to learn more about Bill, his whereabouts. Eventually, they do manage to get some more info, and they eventually have enough to sort of reach out and make contact with Bill himself. They talk to Bill. They learn about, his past, of his condition, how it started as he was a kid. And at this point, Ed is sort of no longer really too skeptical. He believes something is really going on. But they don't really think he was a werewolf himself, I guess. He doesn't have a werewolf bite. He doesn't change in full moons, unfortunately. It's nothing that's
unfortunately.
It's nothing that's a physical condition that he has. So Lorraine very strongly believed that he was possessed by an evil wolf spirit.
Oh.
And he needed, of course, help. He needed to get exorcised out of him.
Wait, is this an exorcism case?
Yes, it is.
Well, okay, keep going.
There's not too much on it, to be honest, but it is a little exorcism case. I can't help but laugh every time it says Lorraine was like, or he was possessed by a wolf spirit. Like, how do you get possessed by a wolf spirit, bro?
We technically know someone that also is by 2 wolf spirits.
Is it me?
No.
Is it Alexis?
No. It's Milo.
Is who?
Oh,
Milo.
Milo.
Oh, because he has 2 gay wolves inside of him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're making out?
Wait,
Yeah.
are they?
Yeah, they are.
I just know that they're both named Milo.
I love that, like, if people don't know us, like, personally, they only know Milo through our bonus episode, and that's if they watched it, or if they listened to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lorraine believes he was possessed by a werewolf demon or werewolf spirit, something like that.
Scary.
Of course, they offered to help. They managed to convince Ramsey and his wife to travel to, Connecticut with them. Very reluctantly, Ramsey did not want to go, but they wanted to get him back to Connecticut to get him treated, exorcised by their bishop, Robert McKenna. And so Bishop Robert McKenna, he was with the Our Lady of the Rosary Catholic Church in Monroe, Connecticut, so where they're from. He did work with the Warrens a lot on lots of exorcisms and other, paranormal cases, things like that.
Okay.
They made their way to Monroe, Connecticut. They got there, and the night before the exorcism was supposed to take place, the werewolf actually did once again take hold of Ramsey, and he tried to strangle his wife in their sleep.
Oh. So his wife is well aware of what's happening.
Oh, 100%.
Why would she?
Props to her for staying with him, but also, like, why haven't you gotten him more help?
I would say props for just sleeping in the same bed.
Seriously, I would not want to sleep in the same bed as him. I'm gonna be so
especially
real.
once once Ed and Lorraine get involved.
Like, that's how you know it's serious.
At that point, it's like, I love you, honey. You're sleeping in the couch.
Yeah. So, night before, he tries to strangle his wife. He's unsuccessful, thankfully. But from here on out, this would be really the last time the Southend Werewolf had time to attack. The next day, the exorcism was carried out. The first 30 minutes of the exorcism were pretty uneventful. Nothing really happened. Bishop Robert McKenna, he was conducting it in Latin, of course. For the first 30 minutes were uneventful, but then suddenly Ramsey just took on, like, the characteristics of a werewolf. Actually, his hands curled into talons. He began snarling, growling, baring his teeth at the bishop. That rage managed to, take back over. The werewolf was there with him. Bishop McKenna commanded the demon to leave. And for a moment, it didn't seem like that managed to help. Ramsey got even more enraged, more powerful. He was, stronger. He was trying to break out of his restraints, becoming even more aggressive. Then all of a sudden, it stopped. Everything stopped. He went back to normal. And that was the last time that the Southend Werewolf ever did bare its teeth.
So a successful exorcism.
Apparently, yeah. So this exorcism was in probably about 1988, I do want to say. Somewhere around there. It doesn't give an exact date, but I would say anywhere from like 1988 to like 1990. But in 1992, Bill Ramsey did actually make his last public appearance. It was like a little interview that he had. He said, ever since the exorcism, there were no more incidents, no more attacks. And so it seems like, the werewolf demon was banished by the exorcism.
I mean, I'm glad, but also this story is wild.
Yeah. Was the demon banished, though?
Wait, Kai, you can't do this.
Because as we know, there's gone lots of time in between his little transformations, his outbreaks.
True.
Who knows? Maybe like in another 15 years, it would have showed its face once again. I don't know.
Ooh. You can't just throw that out into the universe.
I do believe Bill is still alive, so.
Okay. Wow. I knew that there was a werewolf case that involved Ed and Lorraine Warren. I never knew the details, though. So
I don't know.
I think it's never really knew the details either.
I'm fascinated by werewolves. I am just fascinated since a young age.
Yeah.
When I went to my public library, there used to be a book about werewolves, and I would check it out. I checked it out at least like 6 times. And I was like testing a theory out because it was placed in the nonfiction section. So like every time I would return it, I'm like, it's probably an accident. It's going to be in the fiction section next time. And every time I went to check it out, it was in the nonfiction section. It just had really cool information about werewolves. A fun fact that I never forgot was that werewolves pee purple.
Oh, how do we know that?
I don't know. I guess when they're going in the urinal, you like take a look.
One of the library techs and library aides must have been a strong werewolf believer, I guess, putting it in the nonfiction section.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that if I went back to the library, it could still be there, and I could find it in nonfiction.
Anyway, the Southend Werewolf.
Thank you.
He looks like a normal British man. It's kind of funny.
It's kind of funny. It's always once you expect the least.
Once you guys see the picture of him, and listeners too, we're gonna post it on the Instagram.
Yeah,
you'll see what I mean. He's just like a normal British dude. All right. Well, Alexis,
thank you.
What do you got for us?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I got something interesting. I don't know. So, I'm not going to tell you where we're going yet. Oh. I'm going to tell you when we're going, though.
Ooh.
1835.
Actually, we can't go to a time.
Shut up. It's my story. I make up whatever I want. Okay. 1835. The Great Moon Hoax.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
The Moon Hoax?
The Moon Hoax.
Oh, this is perfect, bro.
Honestly.
So, it started August 25th, 1835. That's when the first article was published. There were 6 articles total. They were published in the Sun. And
what?
Wait, do you get the irony there?
In the Sun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're fine. But they basically the articles talked about how there was a recent discovery of life and civilization on the moon.
No way. Is it werewolves?
Yeah. Yeah, actually.
There's no such
Ow.
thing as extraterrestrials. It's
Ow.
werewolves out on space.
Yeah, that's why they look weird.
So, these claims, they were made by Sir John Herschel and his bud, Andrew Grant. The articles, they were actually promoted like 4 days before, so August 21st, 1835. They were promoted by the Edinburgh Courant. It's French. I don't know. But
Wait, Jay knows how to pronounce it.
Is it French?
yeah.
Because you said it in
Correct,
English.
yeah. Yeah, see, I'm not gonna say it in French.
Wait,
Say it with the back of your throat. I don't know if that's what it spelled like.
Let me type it in the chat. Here, I got you, brother.
I might butcher it, but at least we'll have a French accent.
Yes. No, you will.
Courant. Because you don't pronounce the T.
Current. Okay. So.
Yeah. It's the thing about the French.
Um,
They're kind of lazy when it comes to pronouncing the ends of the words.
Yeah. But
All right.
the Sun newspaper, they admitted that the articles were fabricated on September 16th, 1835. The headline of the article read, "Great astronomical discoveries lately made by Sir John Herschel, LLD, FRS ANSI Company, at the Cape of Good Hope." And it says in parentheses, from the supplement to the Edinburgh Journal of Science. And it talks about how on the moon there was like temples being built by all sorts of animals. Dude, they said bison, unicorns, single-horned goats, tailless beavers, mini zebras, and then like bat-like humanoids.
What?
Basically, yeah.
Can you go back to the tailless beavers?
Those poor beavers, bruh. Perry the platypus. Yeah, so all those animals, really fun. The way they describe it, they say like trees, beaches, and oceans, which beaches and oceans. Basically, it sounds like an island. And when I was reading this, I was like, man, but like, how'd they figure this out? You know?
Yeah.
So I figured that out. And I
saw them too?
Yeah, I actually did. So they were using this, quote, an immense telescope of an entirely new principle, end quote. So big telescope, and it was shipped from New England to South Africa. They said it was many times larger than any other telescope in the world. The lens was 24 feet in diameter, and it weighed 7 tons.
What the fuck? That's a shit ton. Well, that's 7.
Yeah, tons. 7 shit tons.
I was like, damn, this thing's big.
For real.
And I mentioned, okay, I mentioned how they said they were like, there was animals and stuff building the temples on the moon. But I also mentioned there was like like humanoids, whatever. They were referred to as Vespertilio Homo, which is like Batman in Latin. It's Batman in Latin.
Batman?
Batman?
Yeah, Batman.
Nice. I love Batman.
This is 1836 too. Well, they reprinted a version in 1836, so a year later, but they made like a second type, so they added something new to it, and it was named the Versatiliones, or like Batmen. And it was written, I know, for real. It was written by none other then the fictitious Andrew Grant. He had been traveling with Sir John Herschel at the time, but later the authors destroyed the telescope so that they wouldn't be able to see what they observed. So, telescope is gone, unfortunately. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about the authors, because there's a little confusing thing about them. So originally they thought the authorship was it belonged to Richard Adams Locke. He was a reporter at the time working for The Sun. He started working there the same month that these issues started happening, August 1835. And he did announce publicly later to the New World weekly paper in 1840 that he was the author. But there were a lot of people that kind of had their suspicions. Maybe they thought there's more to this, and they thought other people were involved. These other people so happened to be these two men. One was a French astronaut. His name, yeah, his name is John Nicholas Nicolay, who was traveling in America at the time. So it was perfect timing for him to be there, I guess. But he wasn't staying in New York. He was in Mississippi at the time. So there's a lack of evidence for him. But the other man that they thought it was, his name is great, by the way. Lewis Gaylord Clark.
Yeah.
Gaylord?
Yeah, Gaylord.
Nice.
He was the editor of the literary magazine, The Knickerbocker. And despite everything after this, they found there was a lack of evidence for either one of them being involved in it. So they just stuck with the fact that Locke did say he was the author of these articles. Now, if that was true, if he was the one and only author, a lot of people were questioning his intentions. Some thought that he was trying to ridicule a recently published paper on astronomical theories. And then the other theory was that he was just trying to be spontaneous, and he was just trying to create a sensational story to make a name for himself. But he meant for it to show how science can be and is influenced by the thoughts of religion. So I mentioned that he was trying to ridicule a paper. This is the paper that they believe it might have been. It was published by Franz von Paula Gruhusen. I don't know how to pronounce this name.
No,
he was a professor at Munich University, so German man. And he published a paper, and it was named, quote, "Discovery of many distinct traces of lunar inhabitants, especially one of their colossal buildings," end quote. So that was published in 1824. So they believe that that's the same article that Locke was trying to kind of make fun of a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
So the man who wrote the paper, he actually made an observation for a while, discovering different colors in the lunar surface, which might have meant that there was some sort of climate or vegetation on there. And then he saw these lines and geometrical shapes, which he thought might have been buildings or roads. Now, whether or not that's true, exactly what he saw, there's really no evidence of that being true. All it says is that these were just observations that he made. Nothing about it being true or not. But this was a pretty popular thing at that point. However, after it kind of died down a little bit, the Sun, declared that it was a kind of hoax article that didn't really mean to be published, I guess. And then Edgar Allan Poe got into this because he claimed that it was a plagiarism from a story that he wrote.
No way.
And it was called The Unparalleled Adventure of Hans Pfaall.
There's so many. I'm gonna be so real. There's like so many names and titles of books. I'm not keeping up with all of them.
Oh no, same.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Not your fault.
Yeah, there was a lot. They republished that story too in 1835, which is kind of funny. But other than that, it just talks about how so many people believed that there was actually like life and civilization on the moon. Really nothing other than that, just a whole legend. Nothing was ever proved to be true or even really false other than the fact that they didn't actually find anything. So,
I mean,
yes, continue. No. Oh.
No, go ahead.
I really hope there's life on the moon because I want to go to the moon.
No, same. I was about to say, like, I 100% believe there is life out there. Like, we cannot be the only, like, life form that is in our universe. It just doesn't make sense. Whether it's, like, intelligent creatures or, like, not, but, like, there's definitely something out there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, we've been to the moon, but we haven't, like, fully explored the moon. I mean, we've had, like...
We have robots out there, but not people.
I went to the moon.
We've had robot. Bruh.
Dream where you were chasing your wife.
I stole the moon.
No. I'm gonna steal the moon.
I steal the moon.
Okay, Vector. Okay, Gru.
I'm Gru, bruh.
No, like. We have had rovers on the moon, right? Because I know we've had like the Mars rovers.
Yeah,
we do.
And like they've been on the moon for like years, but no life has been seen. Like I don't know, maybe they're hiding. Like they could be like inside of the planet and like, what? You're gonna create life on the moon?
Yes.
You
are a woman. You can create life. I just don't know about the
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I don't know if you're thinking of that how I'm thinking of that right now. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe they're like hiding out in like the core of the moon or something. But
ooh, that's it.
When did this all like take place?
1835.
Okay, so like it was definitely like a very plausible idea for them to be like, oh yeah, there's life on the moon because we hadn't gone to the moon yet. So
got
it.
There's life on the moon.
I
saw it for myself.
No way.
Yeah, I had the
moon, right?
What was that?
I know we found water on the moon, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if it's in both North Poles and South Pole, but it's definitely in one of them.
Which means like there is a way to support life.
Yeah.
On the moon. So I know we found water on Mars as well, right? I think.
I'm not sure about
Let
Mars.
me see. Is there water on? Yeah. Let's see.
On yeah.
On yeah.
Abundant water ice is also present beneath the permanent carbon dioxide ice cap at the Martian South Pole.
So there's ice.
So there's ice.
And there's water in the.
Yeah.
Okay. I forgot Mars is like very cold. What was I gonna say?
Is it drinkable? Let me take a sip.
Try it out. Die from the ice. Honestly, cool way to go out.
For real.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like, not often. I'm kind of lying. Well,
What?
I think we lost
All
Guy.
right. Dog's barking.
Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I heard
okay.
a bark, and I think I heard you say, nope.
Sometimes I think about like what it was like to be like an ancient philosopher or like researcher or something like that.
Back in the day.
Yeah, like because there was so literally
I
like
can tell you.
everything was unknown. So like you can just think about everything. I don't know. I think that's like so crazy to me. It's so
there's
funny
still
that
a lot
there's
of things that we don't know.
true, yeah.
I think-
There's so many like philosophical theories and ideas from people back then that are just like nowadays if somebody came out with that, it'd be like, dude, you're stupid. Like why are you thinking of it like that? But
Until
since it was
proven
back
otherwise,
then,
yeah.
since it was back then and nobody knew about anything, it was like, oh, that's a valid thought.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just it's kind of funny.
I still think it's a valid thought.
You stupid.
I'm glad it's just a thought.
I saw life on the moon.
No way. It was Vector.
Yeah.
From Despicable Me.
I'm having a bad day.
Bill Ramsey when he was 9 years old. Anyway, thank you for sharing, Alexis.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
That was the Great Moon Hoax of 1835.
And boy, was it a hoax.
Yeah,
Yippee!
it was. Yippee!
This was surprisingly like a very lighthearted episode today, I feel.
Yeah, I was literally looking for some lighthearted shit because I was like, oh my god, I don't know what to prepare for.
Sick.
And I already had the DB Cooper case, like me working on it. And as I was like just searching for more like true crime stories, I'm like, hey, let's keep the true crime lighthearted this time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it worked well.
I loved it. Yeah.
Sick.
Thank you everyone for listening.
Make some suggestions. chambersoftheoccult.com. The social media is the same thing, but without the .com. Thanks for listening.
On everything. Yes, we love you so much.
Yeah. Leave a review.
Remember,
leave
as
your
always, guys,
drop a like, leave a comment down below.
Pull back your shoulders, put it in your back, take some deep breaths, drink some water.
Yeah.
Crack your knuckles.
Yeah.
Stand up if you've been seated.
I was cracking my
down.
knuckles, but you couldn't hear it.
Summer's here. Stay cool.
Make sure to get 10 minutes of standing time for every hour of your life. That's the recommended.
Did you say for every hour of your life?
Yeah, you're supposed to sit. You're supposed to stand for at least 10 minutes every hour.
Okay, it just sounded weird when you're like, for every hour of your life. And I'm like, how do I know how many hours I have in my life?
Well,
you got to calculate them.
That's for me to figure out.
But
that's for me to determine. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, it was meant as a threat. Anyway, we love you guys. Thank you for listening.
Drink water.
Have a great life.
Bye.
Bye.
I see you.